Hi, welcome to the part 2 of the topic Psychological Attributes. In this part, we will mainly discuss individual differences in intelligence, its assessment, and the different types of tests used for this purpose. We will also talk about the variations of intelligence, culture in relation to intelligence, emotional intelligence, special abilities, creativity and its relation with intelligence. Why are some people more intelligent than others? Is it due to their heredity or is it due to the influence of the environmental factors? For this, we need to understand the interplay of nature and nurture, that is, the interaction between heredity and environment. The evidence of hereditary influences on intelligence comes mainly from studies on twins and adopted children. The intelligence of identical twins, that is developed from a single fertilized ovum, reared together correlates almost 0.90. बहुत ज़्यादा सिमिलैरिटी होता है जो आइडेंटिकल ट्विन्स होते हैं, मतलब एक ही सिंगल एग में से जो फर्टिलाइज होते हैं. Twins separated early in childhood also show considerable similarity in their intellectual, personality and behavioral characteristics. तो जो twins हैं लेकिन बचपन में अलग अलग जगह पर पले हैं, उनमें भी काफ़ी similarities नज़र आती हैं. The intelligence of identical twins reared in different environments correlate 0.72. ये जो correlate करते हैं अपने characteristics में, ये 0.72 तक करते हैं, जो कि काफ़ी ज़्यादा है. Those of fraternal twins reared together correlate almost 0.60. Fraternal twins means who develop from separate eggs. They are twins from the same pregnancy but they are developed in two different eggs. तो जो fraternal twins हैं उनके जो characteristics correlate करते हैं वो 0.60 तक करते हैं. And those of brothers and sisters reared together correlate about 0.50. और जो भाई बहन हैं, भाई भाई हैं या बहन बहन हैं जिनकी परवरिश साथ में हुई है, वो 0.50 तक correlate करते हैं अपनी विशेषताओं में, अपनी characteristics में. While siblings reared apart correlate about 0.25. और जो भाई बहन जो अलग अलग जिनकी परवरिश हुई है वो 0.25 तक correlate करते हैं. Another line of evidence comes from the studies of adopted children, which show that children's intelligence is more similar to their biological rather than adoptive parents. तो ऐसा देखा गया है रिसर्चेस में, ऐसे एविडेंसेस मिले हैं कि वो बच्चे जो अडॉप्ट कर लिए जाते हैं उनका इंटेलिजेंस भी अपने बायोलॉजिकल पेरेंट्स से ज़्यादा मिलता है बजाय कि उनसे जिन्होंने अडॉप्ट किया होता है. With respect to the role of environment, studies have reported that as children grow in age, their intelligence level tends to move closer to that of their adoptive parents. Children from disadvantaged homes adopted into families with higher socioeconomic status exhibit a large increase in their intelligence scores. There is evidence that environmental deprivation lowers intelligence, while rich nutrition, good family background and quality schooling increases intelligence. There is a general consensus among psychologists that intelligence is a product of complex interaction of heredity and environment, that is, the interaction between nature and nurture. Heredity can best be viewed as something that sets a range within which an individual's development is actually shaped by the support and opportunities of the environment. It is very interesting to understand the assessment of intelligence. In 1905, Alfred Binet and Theodore Simon made the first successful attempt to formally measure intelligence. In 1908, when the scale was revised, they gave the concept of mental age, which is a measure of a person's intellectual development relative to people of her or his age group. A mental age of 5 means that a child's performance on an intelligence test equals the average performance level of a group of 5-year-olds. Chronological age is the biological age from birth. A bright child's mental age is more than her or his chronological age. For a dull child, mental age is below the chronological age. Retardation was defined by Binet and Simon as being 2 mental age years below the chronological age. तो मेंटल एज क्रोनोलॉजिकल एज से अगर 2 वर्ष पीछे हो तो ऐसे केस में उस कंडीशन को रिटार्डेशन कहा गया. In 1912, William Stern, a German psychologist, devised the concept of intelligence quotient, that is IQ. IQ refers to mental age divided by chronological age and multiplied by 100. The number 100 is used as a multiplier to avoid the decimal point. When the mental age equals the chronological age, the IQ equals 100. If mental age is more than the chronological age, IQ is more than 100. IQ becomes less than 100 when the mental age is less than the chronological age. For example, a 10-year-old child with a mental age of 12 would have an IQ of 120, whereas the same child with a mental age of 7 would have an IQ of 70. The average IQ in the population is 100, irrespective of the age. IQ scores are distributed in the population in such a way that the scores of most people tend to fall in the middle range of the distribution. Only a few people have either very high or very low scores. The frequency distribution of the IQ scores tends to approximate a bell-shaped curve called the normal curve. बेल जैसे घंटी होती है उस शेप का कर्व अगर ग्राफ बनता है उसे बोलते हैं नॉर्मल कर्व, क्योंकि जो मैक्सिमम पॉपुलेशन है वो सेंटर में होती है, मीन में होती है, तो वहाँ सबसे ज़्यादा पॉपुलेशन का कर्व बनेगा. और जो एक्सट्रीम्स हैं बहुत लो और बहुत हाई, वहाँ पर कम लोग होते हैं, इसलिए वहाँ पर वो उतना उठा हुआ कर्व नहीं बनता है. This type of distribution is symmetrical around the central value called the mean. The mean IQ score in a population is 100. People with IQ score in the range of 90 to 110 have normal intelligence. Those with IQ below 70 are suspected to have intellectual disability, while persons with IQ above 130 are considered to have exceptional talents. All persons do not have the same intellectual capacity. Some are exceptionally bright and some are below average. One practical use of intelligence test is to identify persons at the extremes of intellectual functioning, या तो बहुत हाई या बहुत लो. इस तरह के लोगों को आइडेंटिफाई करना भी एक कारण है इंटेलिजेंस टेस्ट यूज करने का. As in this table, about 2% of the population has IQ above 130 and a similar percentage has IQ below 70. The persons in the first group are called intellectually gifted. Those in the second group are termed intellectually disabled. These two groups deviate considerably from the normal population in respect of their cognitive, emotional and motivational characteristics. There are variations of intelligence. First, we will understand intellectual deficiency. There are children who face enormous difficulty in learning even very simple skills. Those children who show intellectual deficiency are termed as intellectually disabled. As a group, there is a wide variation among the intellectually disabled. The American Association on Mental Deficiency views intellectual disability as significantly sub-average general intellectual functioning existing concurrently with deficits in adaptive behavior and manifested during the developmental period. This definition points to 3 basic features. First, in order to be judged as intellectually disabled, a person must show significantly sub-average intellectual functioning. अगर वो इंटेलेक्चुअली डिसेबल्ड है तो एक फीचर उसमें ये होना ज़रूरी है कि वो इंटेलेक्चुअल फंक्शनिंग में एवरेज से थोड़ा पीछे हो. Persons having IQs below 70 are judged to have sub-average intelligence. The second relates to deficits in adaptive behavior. Adaptive behaviors refers to a person's capacity to be independent and deal effectively with one's environment. अपने आसपास के वातावरण से सही तरीके से डील कर पाना, इंडिपेंडेंटली डील कर पाना, ये उसका अडेप्टिव बिहेवियर होता है. तो उसमें अगर कोई डेफिसिट्स हैं, कुछ कमियां हैं, तो वो भी इंटेलेक्चुअल डेफिशिएंसी के दायरे में आते हैं. द थर्ड फीचर इज दैट the deficits must be observed during the developmental period, that is between 0 and 18 years of age. Individuals who are categorized as having intellectual disability show significant variations in their abilities, ranging from those who can be taught to work and function with special attention to those who cannot be trained and require institutional care throughout their lives. तो इसमें भी एक रेंज है. जो इंटेलेक्चुअल डेफिशिएंसी है, इसके अंदर पूरी एक रेंज है. कुछ वो हैं जिन्हें ट्रेन किया जा सकता है स्पेशल अटेंशन के साथ, उनको थोड़ा बहुत पढ़ाया जा सकता है, और कुछ ऐसे भी हैं जिन्हें थ्रू आउट अपनी लाइफ एक इंस्टीट्यूशनल केयर की ज़रूरत होती है, एक देखभाल की ज़रूरत होती है. द डिफरेंट लेवल्स ऑफ इंटेलेक्चुअल डिसेबिलिटीज़ आर माइल्ड, which has an IQ from 55 to approximately 70. Then there is another category called moderate, and the IQ is mainly from 35 to 40 or to approximately 50 to 55. 35 या 40 से शुरू होकर 50 to 55 तक होता है मॉडरेट का IQ, और सीवियर कैटेगरी में IQ 20-25 से लेके 35-40 तक होता है, इस रेंज के बीच में होता है. और जो प्रोफाउंड है उनका IQ 20 या 25 से नीचे होता है और कम होता है. Although the development of people with mild disability is typically slower than that of their peers, they can function quite independently, hold jobs and families. As the level of disability increases, the difficulties are strongly marked. तो जैसे जैसे disability का level बढ़ता जाता है, उसी तरह से जो difficulties हैं वो भी बढ़ जाती हैं. The people with moderate disability lag behind their peers in language and motor skills. तो भाषा के विकास में और जो मोटर स्किल्स हैं, जो हाथ पैरों का यूज़ है, बॉडी पार्ट्स का जो यूज़ है चलने फिरने के लिए, उठने बैठने के लिए, उन सब में कमी या देर लैग नज़र आता है. They can be trained in self-care skills and simple social and communication skills. They need to have a moderate degree of supervision in everyday tasks. Individuals with profound and severe disability are incapable of managing life and need constant care for their entire life. पूरी जिंदगी उनको एक देखभाल की ज़रूरत होती है. Now we will understand intellectual giftedness. Intellectually gifted individuals show higher performance because of their outstanding potentialities. उनमें खास पोटेंशियल्स होते हैं जिसकी वजह से उनकी परफॉर्मेंस बहुत हायर लेवल पे होती है. The study of gifted individuals began in 1925 when Lewis Terman followed the lives of about 1,500 children with IQs of 130 and above to examine how intelligence was related to occupational success and life adjustments. कि IQ जो है वो ऑक्यूपेशनल सक्सेस, वो जो काम कर रहे हैं आगे ज़िंदगी में उसमें कितने सफल होते हैं, और लाइफ एडजस्टमेंट, वो अपनी ज़िंदगी में कितना सामंजस्य बैठा पाते हैं, एडजस्ट हो पाते हैं. इन चीज़ों को स्टडी करने के लिए उन्होंने 1500 बच्चों पर स्टडी की थी. Although the terms talent and giftedness are often used interchangeably, they mean different things. Giftedness is exceptional general ability shown in superior performance in a wide variety of areas. Talent is a narrower term and refers to remarkable ability in a specific field, for example, spiritual, social, aesthetic, etc. The highly talented are sometimes called prodigies. It has been suggested by psychologists that giftedness from the teacher's point of view depends on a combination of high ability, high creativity and high commitment. Gifted children show early signs of intellectual superiority. बहुत शुरू में ही उनमें वो संकेत नज़र आते हैं कि वो intellectually बहुत ऊपर हैं. Even during infancy and early childhood, they show larger attention span, good recognition memory, preference for novelty, sensitivity to environmental changes and early appearances of language skills. तो ये सारी चीज़ें उन बच्चों में शुरू से ही नज़र आने लगती हैं. To equate giftedness with brilliant academic performance is not correct. तो कोई ज़रूरी नहीं है कि जो gifted है वो academically भी बहुत अच्छा perform कर रहा होगा. Athletes who show superior psychomotor ability are also gifted. Each gifted student possesses different strengths, personalities and characteristics. Some important characteristics of gifted children are advanced logical thinking, questioning and problem solving behavior, high speed in processing information, superior generalization and discrimination ability, चीज़ों को जनरलाइज कर लेना और उनमें फ़र्क भी देख लेना, ये बहुत सुपीरियर लेवल पे होता है. एडवांस्ड लेवल ऑफ ओरिजिनल एंड क्रिएटिव थिंकिंग, इनोवेटिव होते हैं, नई नई चीज़ें कर पाते हैं, नए तरीके से चीज़ों को कर पाते हैं. हाई लेवल ऑफ इंट्रिंसिक मोटिवेशन एंड सेल्फ एस्टीम, अंदर से अभिप्रेरित होते हैं, मोटिवेटेड होते हैं चीज़ों को करने के लिए और अपने बारे में जो उनकी राय होती है वो काफ़ी हाई होती है. इंडिपेंडेंट एंड नॉन कन्फॉर्मिस्ट थिंकिंग, किसी एक चीज़ से लग कर नहीं सोचते हैं, वो अपने स्वतंत्र रूप से सोचने की क्षमता रखते हैं. एंड प्रेफरेंस फॉर सॉलिटरी एकेडमिक एक्टिविटीज़ फॉर लॉन्ग पीरियड्स. परफॉर्मेंस ऑन इंटेलिजेंस टेस्ट इज़ नॉट द ओनली मेजर फॉर आइडेंटिफाइंग द गिफ्टेड. तो सिर्फ इंटेलिजेंस टेस्ट पे नहीं देखा जा सकता कि वो गिफ्टेड है या नहीं है. Many other sources of information such as teachers' judgment, school achievement records, parents' interviews, peer and self-rating, etc. can be used in combination with intellectual assessment. To reach their full potential, gifted children require special attention and different educational programs beyond those provided to normal children in regular classrooms. तो जो gifted बच्चे हैं उनके लिए भी कुछ special arrangements करने की ज़रूरत होती है. वो जो regular classrooms में जो कराया जा रहा है वो उनके लिए काफ़ी नहीं होता है. These may include life enrichment programs that can sharpen children's skills in productive thinking, planning, decision making and communication. There are different types of intelligence tests. Intelligence tests are of different types on different bases. On the basis of their administration procedure, they can be categorized as individual or group tests. They can also be classified as either verbal or performance tests on the basis of the nature of items used. Depending upon the extent to which an intelligence test favors one culture over another, it can be judged as either culture fair or culture biased. One can choose a test depending on the purpose of one's use. तो किस मकसद के लिए वो इंटेलिजेंस टेस्ट यूज़ करना है, इसके बेस पे उसको चूज़ किया जा सकता है कि वो कल्चर फेयर हो या कल्चर बायस्ड भी चल जाएगा, या वो ग्रुप में करना है या इंडिविजुअली करना है. तो ये डिपेंड करता है उसके नेचर ऑफ आइटम्स पे और बाकी पर्पस पे कि हम कौन सा इंटेलिजेंस टेस्ट यूज़ करते हैं. पहले बात करेंगे इंडिविजुअल या ग्रुप टेस्ट की. An individual intelligence test is one which can be administered to one person at a time. A group intelligence test can be administered to several persons simultaneously. एक साथ कई लोगों पे जब एडमिनिस्टर किए जाते हैं ऐसे टेस्ट ग्रुप टेस्ट कहलाते हैं. Individual tests require the test administrator to establish a rapport with the subject and be sensitive to her or his feelings, moods and expressions during the testing session. Group tests, however, do not allow an opportunity to be familiar with the subject's feelings. तो group टेस्ट में ऐसा कुछ रेपो बिल्डिंग की ज़रूरत नहीं होती है और ना अपॉर्चुनिटी होती है, जबकि इंडिविजुअल टेस्ट में जो सब्जेक्ट है जिस पे टेस्ट किया जा रहा है उसकी फीलिंग्स को समझना, उसके मूड को समझना और उसके एक्सप्रेशन को समझना ज़रूरी होता है और पहले एक रेपो स्टैब्लिश करना पड़ता है, उसके बाद टेस्ट एडमिनिस्टर करना आसान होता है। Individual tests allow people to answer orally or in a written form or manipulate objects as per the tester's instructions. Group tests generally seek written answers, usually in a multiple choice format. Then the next category could be verbal, non-verbal or performance tests. An intelligence test may be fully verbal, fully non-verbal or fully performance based, or it may consist of a mixture of items from each category. या तो पूरी तरह से वो verbal होगा या पूरी तरह से non-verbal होगा या पूरी तरह से performance based होगा या फिर इन सब का mix होगा। Verbal tests require subjects to give verbal responses either orally or in written form, जहाँ पर language का use हो रहा है। तो उस तरह से जब responses देता है व्यक्ति तो वो या तो लिखकर या बोलकर उसे बोलते हैं verbal test. Therefore, verbal tests can be administered only to literate people. जो पढ़े लिखे हैं, अगर उनसे लिखवा के करना है तो हम सिर्फ जो literate हैं उन्हीं पर use कर सकते हैं। The non-verbal tests use pictures or illustrations as test items. Raven's progressive matrices test is an example of a non-verbal test. In this test, the subject examines an incomplete pattern and chooses a figure from the alternatives that will complete the pattern. तो जो options दिए गए हैं विकल्पों में से वो perfect जो match है उसको ढूंढकर उस pattern को complete करता है। तो इसमें कहीं verbal चीज़ की ज़रूरत नहीं है, इसमें भाषा का इस्तेमाल नहीं हो रहा है, इसलिए ये non-verbal test है। Performance test requires a subject to manipulate objects and other materials to perform a task. इसमें कुछ एक्टिविटी करनी होती है performance task में. Written language is not necessary for answering the items. For example, Coe's block design test, which contains a number of wooden blocks. The subject is asked to arrange the blocks within a time period to produce a given design. A major advantage of performance test is that they can be easily administered to persons from different cultures. तो इसमें अलग-अलग कल्चर के लोगों पर भी ये टेस्ट किया जा सकता है। Yet another classification of intelligence tests is culture fair or culture biased tests. Many intelligence tests show a bias to the culture in which they are developed. Tests developed in America and Europe represent an urban and middle-class cultural ethos. Hence, educated middle-class white subjects generally perform well on those tests. The items do not respect the cultural perspectives of Asia and Africa. The norms for these tests are also drawn from Western cultural groups. It is nearly impossible to design a test that can be applied equally meaningfully in all cultures. तो सभी कल्चर में टेस्ट अप्लाई हो जाए ऐसा टेस्ट बनाना करीब impossible है. Psychologists have tried to develop tests that are culture fair or culturally appropriate. That is, one that does not discriminate against individuals belonging to different cultures. वो फ़र्क नहीं करता different cultures के जो लोग हैं, इस तरह का टेस्ट बनाने की कोशिश काफ़ी psychologists ने की है. In such tests, items are constructed in a manner that they assess experiences common to all cultures or have questions in which language usage is not required. Non-verbal and performance tests help reduce the cultural bias usually associated with verbal tests. तो जो non-verbal या performance test हैं उसमें काफ़ी हद तक वो टेस्ट culture fair होते हैं, उसमें जो cultural bias है वो कम हो जाता है उसके मुकाबले जैसा कि verbal test में होता है. Let's have a quick impression of intelligence testing in India. S.M. Mohsin made a pioneering attempt in constructing an intelligence test in Hindi in 1930s. C.H. Rice attempted to standardize Binet's test in Urdu and Punjabi. At about the same time, Mahalanobis attempted to standardize Binet's test in Bengali. Attempts were also made by Indian researchers to develop Indian norms for some Western tests, including RPM, Wechsler Adult Intelligence Scale, Alexander's Pass Along, Cube Construction, and Coase Block Design. Long and Mehta prepared a mental measurement handbook listing out 103 tests of intelligence in India that were available in various languages. Since then, a number of tests have either been developed or adapted from Western cultures. The National Library of Educational and Psychological Tests, NLEPT, which is called in short, at the National Council of Educational Research and Training, that is NCERT, have documented Indian tests. Critical reviews of Indian tests are published in the form of handbooks. NLEPT has brought out the handbooks in the area of intelligence, aptitude, personality, attitudes, and interests. Bhatia's battery of performance tests is quite popular. Let's now discuss the connection of culture and intelligence. A major characteristic of intelligence is that it helps individuals to adapt to their environment. The cultural environment provides a context of intelligence to develop. Vygotsky, a Russian psychologist, has argued that culture provides a social context in which people live, grow, and understand the world around them. For example, in less technologically developed societies, social and emotional skills in relating to people are valued, while in technologically advanced societies, personal achievement founded on abilities of reasoning and judgment is considered to represent intelligence. Culture is a collective system of customs, beliefs, attitudes, and achievements in art and literature. A person's intelligence is likely to be tuned by these cultural parameters. तो हमारे जो customs हैं, रिवाज हैं, आस्थाएं हैं, beliefs, attitudes मतलब दृष्टिकोण और achievements हैं art and literature में, ये सब तय करते हैं कि हमारा intelligence कैसा होगा. Many theorists have regarded intelligence as attributes specific to the person without regard to his or her cultural background. कुछ साइकोलॉजिस्ट या कुछ थ्योरिस्ट का कहना है कि जो इंटेलिजेंस है वो स्पेसिफिक एट्रीब्यूट्स हैं जिनका कल्चरल बैकग्राउंड से कुछ लेना देना नहीं होता है. The unique features of culture now find some representation in theories of intelligence. पर अब जो कुछ theories हैं उसके अंदर culture का अपना ही रोल नज़र आता है intelligence को समझने के लिए. या हम ऐसे कह सकते हैं कि intelligence की theories में culture के features पर भी महत्व दिया गया है. Sternberg's notion of contextual or practical intelligence implies that intelligence is a product of culture. Vygotsky also believed that cultures like individuals have a life of their own. तो जैसे इंसानों की एक पूरी जिंदगी होती है ऐसी cultures की भी होती है. They grow and change and in the process specify what will be the end product of successful intellectual development. According to him, while elementary mental functions such as crying, attending to mother's voice, sensitivity to smells, walking and running are universal, ये सभी के साथ होता है. The manner in which higher mental functions such as problem solving and thinking operate are largely culture produced. और कुछ चीज़ें जो higher mental functions है जैसे problem solving या सोचना, thinking, ये culture के बेस पर बनता है. Technologically advanced societies adopt child rearing practices that foster skills of generalization and abstraction, speed, minimal moves, and mental manipulations among children. These societies promote a type of behavior which can be called technological intelligence. In these societies, persons are well versed in skills of attention, observation, analysis, performance, speed and achievement orientation. तो कुछ सोसाइटी में इस तरह के स्किल्स को डेवलप किया जाता है टेक्नोलॉजिकली एडवांस्ड होने के कारण. तो उनको ज़्यादातर ऐसी स्किल्स सिखाई जाती हैं जैसे जनरलाइजेशन, एब्स्ट्रैक्शन, समानताएं देख पाना और अमूर्त चीज़ों को समझ पाना, स्पीड को समझ पाना, कम मूवमेंट करते हुए मेंटल मैनिपुलेशन ज़्यादा करना, ये सब चीज़ें टेक्नोलॉजिकल इंटेलिजेंस के दायरे में मानी जाती हैं. Intelligence tests developed in Western cultures look precisely for these skills in an individual. Technological intelligence is not so valued in many Asian and African societies. The qualities and skills regarded as intelligent actions in non-Western cultures are sharply different, though the boundaries are gradually vanishing under the influence of Western culture. अब बहुत कुछ सिमिलर होने लगा है क्योंकि जो वेस्टर्न कल्चर है वो काफ़ी इन्फ्लुएंस कर रहा है इन सब चीज़ों को. In addition to cognitive competence that is very specific to the individual, the non-Western cultures look for skills to relate to others in the society. Let us now understand intelligence in the Indian tradition. Contrary to technological intelligence, intelligence in the Indian tradition can be termed as integral intelligence, which gives emphasis on connectivity with the social and world environment. Indian thinkers view intelligence from a holistic perspective, where equal attention is paid to cognitive and non-cognitive processes as well as their integration. तो ये एक integrated intelligence है जिसमें cognitive और non-cognitive processes दोनों को मिलाकर देखा जाता है. The Sanskrit word buddhi, which is often used to represent intelligence, is far more pervasive in scope than the Western concept of intelligence. Buddhi, according to J.P. Das, includes such skills as mental effort, determined action, feelings and opinions, along with cognitive competence such as knowledge, discrimination and understanding. Among other things, Buddhi is the knowledge of one's own self based on conscience, will and desire. Thus, the notion of Buddhi has affective and motivational components besides a strong cognitive component. Unlike the Western views, which primarily focus on cognitive parameters, there are competencies which are identified as facets of intelligence in the Indian tradition, such as cognitive capacity, social competence, emotional competence, entrepreneurial competence. Cognitive capacities such as sensitivity to context, understanding, discrimination, problem solving and effective communication, ये सब cognitive के दायरे में आते हैं. Social competence talks about respect for social order, जो सामाजिक तौर पे जो कानून हैं उनको रिस्पेक्ट करना, कमिटमेंट टू एल्डर्स, द यंग एंड द नीडी, जो ज़रूरतमंद हैं, बड़े हैं, छोटे हैं, उनकी तरफ कमिटमेंट, उनके लिए कुछ करना समाज में, ये सब सोशल कॉम्पिटेंस है. देन कंसर्न्स अबाउट अदर्स, रिकग्नाइजिंग अदर्स पर्सपेक्टिव, दूसरे क्या सोचते हैं, उनका क्या ओपिनियन है, इसको रिकग्नाइज करना, ये सब सोशल कॉम्पिटेंस है. Then emotional competence includes things like self-regulation and self-monitoring of emotions, honesty, politeness, good conduct and self-evaluation. Entrepreneurial competence includes things like commitment, persistence, patience, hard work, vigilance and goal-directed behavior. किसी लक्ष्य की तरफ बढ़ना, ऐसा व्यवहार करना, वो इसी दायरे में आएगा. मेहनत करना, धैर्य रखना, अलर्ट रहना, मॉनिटरिंग करना, ये सब चीज़ें एंटरप्रेन्योरियल कॉम्पिटेंस में आते हैं. Emotional intelligence is commonly heard these days. The notion of emotional intelligence broadens the concept of intelligence beyond the intellectual sphere or domain and considers that intelligence includes emotions. तो खाली इंटेलिजेंस की ही यहाँ बात नहीं करते हैं, ऐसा माना जाता है कि इंटेलिजेंस में इमोशंस भी हैं और इसी को इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस के दायरे में रखा गया है. इट बिल्ड्स ऑन द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ इंटेलिजेंस इन द इंडियन ट्रेडिशन. Emotional intelligence is a set of skills that underlie accurate appraisal, expression and regulation of emotions. तो इमोशंस को अप्रेज करना, उसको असेस करना, एक्सप्रेस करना और रेगुलेट करना, ये सब भी इंटेलिजेंस की वजह से होता है। इसलिए एक अलग कॉन्सेप्ट इमर्ज हुआ जिसे बोलते हैं इमोशनल इंटेलिजेंस। इट इज द फीलिंग साइड ऑफ इंटेलिजेंस। A good IQ and scholastic record is not enough to be successful in life. Many people who are academically talented are unsuccessful in their own life. They experience problems in family, workplace, and interpersonal relationships. What do they lack? Some psychologists believe that the source of their difficulty may be a lack of emotional intelligence. This concept was first introduced by Salovey and Mayer, who considered emotional intelligence as the ability to monitor one's own and others' emotion, to discriminate among them, and to use the information to guide one's thinking and action. Emotional quotient, which is EQ, is used to express emotional intelligence in the same way as IQ is used to express intelligence. There are different characteristics of emotionally intelligent persons, such as they perceive and be sensitive to one's feelings and emotions. They perceive and be sensitive to various types of emotions in others by noting their body language, वॉइस एंड टोन एंड फेशियल एक्सप्रेशंस। दूसरों के फेशियल एक्सप्रेशन को देख के उनकी वॉइस और जो उनकी टोन है बात करने की, उनकी बॉडी लैंग्वेज, इनको समझते हुए वो सेंसिटिव होते हैं और दूसरे की फीलिंग्स को समझ पाते हैं, उनके इमोशंस को समझ पाते हैं। Then they relate one's emotions to one's thoughts so that one take them into account while solving problems and taking decision. तो अपने emotions को वो इस तरह से समझ पाते हैं कि वो अपने thought से उसको relate कर लेते हैं और जब ज़रूरत पड़ती है किसी problem solving situation में या decision लेने में तो वो इसका इस्तेमाल करते हैं। They also understand the powerful influence of the nature and intensity of one's emotion. खुद के अपने जो इमोशंस हैं वो कितने इंटेंस हैं और उनका नेचर क्या है, इसकी पावर को भी वो समझना जानते हैं। Then they control and regulate one's emotions and their expressions while dealing with self and others to achieve harmony and peace. तो चीज़ों को स्मूथ करने के लिए, पीसफुल बनाने के लिए सिचुएशंस को अपने और दूसरों के बीच में वो कंट्रोल्स कैसे एडमिनिस्टर करेंगे और इमोशंस को कैसे कंट्रोल करेंगे या रेगुलेट करेंगे या एक्सप्रेस करेंगे, ये सब भी जो इमोशनली इंटेलिजेंट लोग हैं वो ज़्यादा अच्छे से कर पाते हैं। The discussion on psychological attributes won't be complete without discussing special abilities. So one special ability is aptitude. Let's understand its nature and measurement. Intelligence tests assess a general mental ability, whereas aptitude refers to special abilities in a particular field of activity. It is a combination of characteristics that indicates an individual's capacity to acquire some specific knowledge or skill after training. We assess aptitude with the help of selected tests. The knowledge of aptitude can help us to predict an individual's future performance. While assessing intelligence, psychologists often found that people with similar intelligence differed widely in acquiring certain knowledge or skills. For example, there are certain areas in which some intelligent students do not do well. Some are exceptional in mathematics, while some in literature, computer, or music. These specific skills and abilities are called aptitudes. With proper training, these abilities can be considerably enhanced. तो अगर proper training और environment मिलता है, उससे ये skills और ज़्यादा enhance हो जाती हैं। In order to be successful in a particular field, a person must have both aptitude and interest. Interest is a preference for a particular activity. Aptitude is the potentiality to perform that activity. तो जो इंटरेस्ट है वो किसी एक पर्टिकुलर एक्टिविटी का प्रेफरेंस हो सकता है कि हमें ये चाहिए और ये नहीं चाहिए, और एप्टीट्यूड वो पोटेंशियलिटी है उस एक्टिविटी को परफॉर्म करने की। A person may be interested in a particular job or activity but may not have the aptitude for it. Similarly, a person may have the potentiality for performing a job but may not be interested in doing that. In both cases, the outcome will not be satisfactory. A student with high mechanical aptitude and strong interest in engineering is more likely to be a successful mechanical engineer. Aptitude tests are available in two forms: independent, that is specialized aptitude tests, and multiple, that is generalized aptitude tests. Clerical aptitude, mechanical aptitude, numerical aptitude, and typing aptitude are independent aptitude tests. Multiple aptitude tests exist in the form of test batteries, which measure aptitude in several separate but homogeneous areas. अलग अलग लेकिन मिलते जुलते एक ही कैटेगरी के एरियाज को जब मेजर करते हैं वो मल्टीपल एप्टीट्यूड टेस्ट हैं, such as differential aptitude test, the general aptitude test batteries, and the armed services vocational aptitude battery are well-known aptitude test batteries. Among these, the differential aptitude test, that is DAT, is most commonly used in educational settings. It consists of 8 independent subtests: 1. Verbal reasoning, 2. Numerical reasoning, 3. Abstract reasoning, then clerical speed and accuracy, mechanical reasoning, space relations, spellings, and language usage. J.M. Ojha has developed an Indian adaptation of DAT. Now comes a very interesting concept called creativity. There are differences in the potential for creativity across individuals and the manner in which creativity is expressed. Some are highly creative and others are not so creative. Some may express creativity in writing, while others may express in dance, music, poetry, science, and so on. Creativity means producing something new and unique. It is an innovation. We generally think of creativity in terms of creative persons like Tagore, Einstein, C.V. Raman, Ramanujan, etc., who have made outstanding contributions in different spheres. In recent years, our understanding of creativity has broadened. Creativity is not just limited to a selected few: the artist, the scientist, the poet, or the inventor. An ordinary individual who is engaged in simple occupations like pottery, carpentry, cooking, etc. can also be creative. However, it has been said that they are not working at the same level of creativity as an eminent scientist or a writer. Hence, we can say that individuals vary in terms of a level and areas in which they exhibit creativity, and that all may not be operating at the same level. Einstein's theory of relativity is an example of the highest level of creativity, which implies bringing out altogether new ideas, facts, theory, or a product. Another level of creativity is working on what has already been established earlier by way of modifications, by putting things in new perspective or to new use. तो पुरानी कुछ की हुई चीज़ों में चेंजेस करके भी क्रिएटिविटी को दिखाया जा सकता है. Research literature suggests that children begin to develop their imagination during the early years of childhood, but they express creativity mostly through physical activities and in non-verbal ways. तो अपने body के action से physical जो activities हैं जो वो कर रहे हैं उसमें और non-verbal तरीके से वो अपनी creativity को दर्शाते हैं. When language and intellectual functions are fully developed and store of knowledge is adequately available, creativity is expressed through verbal modes too. उसके बाद धीरे धीरे वो verbally भी अपनी creativity को express करना शुरू करते हैं जब उनके intellectual functions और language काफ़ी हद तक develop हो जाते हैं. Those who are outstanding in their creativity may give an indication about the direction in which their creativity lies through their self chosen activities. तो वो कौन सी एक्टिविटीज चूज करेंगे, इससे वो एक हिंट देते हैं, एक डायरेक्शन देते हैं अपनी क्रिएटिविटी के बारे में कि वो किस में आउटस्टैंडिंग तरीके से काम कर सकते हैं. In some cases, however, opportunities need to be provided before they can manifest their hidden potential for creativity. कभी-कभी ये सामने लाने के लिए कुछ opportunities देनी होती हैं और तब वो activities नजर आनी शुरू होती हैं, नहीं तो वो hidden ही रहती हैं. How do we explain variations in the potential of creativity? ये फ़र्क कैसे हैं, उन वेरिएशंस को हम कैसे बताएं, जो क्रिएटिविटी के पोटेंशियल्स हैं वो किस तरह से डिफरेंट हैं एक व्यक्ति से दूसरे व्यक्ति में. As in the case of other mental and physical characteristics, such variations can be attributed to the complex interaction of heredity and environment. तो hereditary क्या है एक व्यक्ति में और उसके environment में उसे क्या क्या मिल रहा है, इसके बेस पर भी ये variations को समझा जा सकता है. There is no disagreement that creativity is determined by both heredity and environment. Limits of the creative potential are set by heredity. वो कितने दायरे में क्रिएटिव होगा ये हेरिडिटी तय करता है. एनवायरमेंटल फैक्टर्स स्टिमुलेट द डेवलपमेंट ऑफ क्रिएटिविटी, और उस दायरे के अंदर वो कितना उसमें ग्रो करेगा, डेवलप करेगा, ये एनवायरमेंटल फैक्टर्स पे डिपेंड करता है. हाउ मच ऑफ द क्रिएटिव पोटेंशियल कैन बी रियलाइज्ड व्हेन एंड इन व्हाट स्पेसिफिक फॉर्म एंड डायरेक्शन is largely determined by environmental factors such as motivation, commitment, family support, peer influences, training opportunities, and similar other things. Although no amount of training can transform an average person to the level of Tagore, Shakespeare, etc., it is also true that every individual can raise his or her level of creative potential beyond इट्स प्रेजेंट लेवल. जो आज का लेवल है उससे आगे वो ज़रूर बढ़ सकते हैं अगर वो उसमें पूरी कोशिश करें और प्रॉपर ट्रेनिंग लें. लेकिन ये बहुत मुश्किल है कि एक एवरेज इंटेलिजेंस का व्यक्ति कुछ भी कर ले, वो अपनी इंटेलिजेंस से ऊपर राइज नहीं कर पाएगा. One important debate in understanding the variations in creativity has been the relationship of creativity with intelligence. तो ये वेरिएशन कैसे होते हैं क्रिएटिविटी में, इसको समझने के लिए उसका जो रिलेशनशिप है इंटेलिजेंस के साथ, उसको स्टडी किया गया है. Let us take an example of two students in a class. Smriti is regarded by her teachers as an excellent student. She does her work on time, scores the highest grades in her class, listens to instructions with care, grasps quickly, reproduces accurately, but she rarely comes out with ideas which are her own. वो अपने innovative ideas नहीं बता पाती है, लेकिन वो बाकी सारी चीज़ों में बहुत अच्छी है. Ritika is another student who is just average in her studies and has not achieved high grades consistently. She prefers to learn on her own. वो grades बहुत अच्छे नहीं लाती है, लेकिन अपने level पर सीखना चाहती है. She improvises new ways of helping her mother at home and comes up with new ways of doing her work and assignments. नए-नए तरीकों से अपना काम और assignments करने की कोशिश करती है. The former, that is Smriti, is considered to be more intelligent, and the latter, that is Ritika, she is considered as more creative. Thus, a person who has the ability to learn faster and reproduce accurately may be considered intelligent more than creative, unless she or he devises new ways of learning and doing things. तो अगर कुछ चीज़ों को वो बहुत जल्दी और एक्यूरेटली रिप्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं तो वो इंटेलिजेंट तो कहलाएंगे, लेकिन क्रिएटिव नहीं, जब तक कि वो उनको नए तरीके से करने की कोशिश ना करें. Terman in 1920s found that persons with high IQ were not necessarily creative. At the same time, creative ideas could come from persons who did not have a very high IQ. तो जो बहुत ज़्यादा हाई IQ वाले नहीं थे, कभी कभी उनसे भी बड़े क्रिएटिव आइडियाज़ आते देखे गए, और कभी जो बहुत अच्छा हाई IQ था जिनका, उनमें क्रिएटिविटी नहीं भी दिखी. Other researchers have shown that not even one of these identified as gifted followed up throughout their adult life. Other researchers have shown that not even one of those identified as gifted, when followed up throughout their adult life, had become well known for creativity in some field. तो पूरी उनके adult life उनको observe किया गया जो कि बहुत ज़्यादा gifted थे, फिर भी उनमें कुछ भी ऐसा नहीं पाया गया जिसके लिए कि वो creativity की वजह से वो well known हुए हों. Researchers have also found that both high and low level of creativity can be found in highly intelligent children and also children of average intelligence. तो creativity low और high दोनों में हो सकती है, जो highly intelligent हैं उनमें भी और जो बहुत average हैं उनमें भी दोनों low और high creativity मिल सकती है. The same person thus can be creative as well as intelligent, but it is not necessary that intelligent ones in the conventional sense must be creative. Intelligence therefore by itself does not ensure creativity. तो कोई ज़रूरी नहीं है कि अगर कोई intelligent है तो वो creative भी होगा. Researchers have found that the relationship between creativity and intelligence is positive. तो ये जो relationship है ये positive है. All creative acts require some minimum ability to acquire knowledge and capacity to comprehend, retain and retrieve. तो जो इंटेलिजेंस के जो कंपोनेंट्स हैं कि वो किसी चीज़ को समझ सके, रिटेन कर सके, याद रख सके और फिर रिट्रीव कर सके, ज़रूरत पड़ने पर उसको बता सके, ये कैपेसिटी चाहिए कुछ हद तक क्रिएटिव होने के लिए. Creative writers, for example, need facility in dealing with language. The artist must understand the effect that will be produced by a particular technique of painting. A scientist must be able to reason and so on. तो ये सब चीज़ें कहीं ना कहीं इंटेलिजेंस भी डिमांड करती हैं. ये सब क्रिएटिव चीज़ें हैं, पेंटिंग या साइंटिफिक एक्टिविटीज़ करना या राइटिंग स्किल्स को आगे बढ़ाना. जो राइटर्स हैं या पेंटर्स हैं या साइंटिस्ट हैं उन सभी को कुछ हद तक इंटेलिजेंस की ज़रूरत है. Creativity tests came into existence to assess variations in terms of the potential for creativity in contrast to intelligence. A general feature of most of the creativity tests is that they are open-ended. They permit the person to think of different answers to the questions or problems in terms of her or his experiences, whatever these may have been. तो जो इसका एक मेन फीचर है क्रिएटिविटी टेस्ट का वो है ओपन एंडेड क्वेश्चंस. तो इसमें जो भी आइटम्स होंगे या क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाते हैं वो ओपन एंडेड है, मतलब उसमें कोई येस नो जैसे आंसर्स नहीं हैं. उसमें फ्रीली जो सब्जेक्ट है वो अपने ओपिनियंस को बता सकता है या जो भी वो उसमें रिस्पॉन्स देना चाह रहा है वो अपने लेवल पे अपनी सोच के हिसाब से दे सकता है. और ये डिफरेंट आंसर्स भी अलाउ करते हैं इस तरह के क्वेश्चंस. कोई ज़रूरी नहीं कि इसका फिक्स एक या दो आंसर हो, कई तरह के आंसर्स हो सकते हैं. There are no specified answers to questions or problems in creativity tests. Therefore, there is a freedom to use one's imagination and express it in original ways. Creativity tests involve divergent thinking and assess such abilities as ability to produce a variety of ideas, that is, ideas which are off the beaten track, ability to see new relationships between seemingly unrelated things. तो जो दो unrelated चीज़ें दिख रही हैं उसमें भी relation ढूंढ पाना, ये भी creativity को बताता है. और जो general idea है उससे कुछ हट कर बता पाना, ये भी एक तरह का innovation है और इसीलिए इसमें creativity नज़र आती है. Then the ability to guess causes and consequences, ये पता कर पाना कि क्या कारण है और उसके क्या नतीजे होंगे. Then ability to put things in new context, और इसी तरह की और बहुत सारी चीज़ें creativity test में involve होती हैं. This is contrary to the tests of intelligence, which mostly involve convergent thinking. Intelligence test में convergent thinking होती है, किसी एक particular नतीजे पर पहुंचना. In tests of intelligence, the person has to think of the right solution to the problem, and the focus is on assessing abilities such as memory, logical reasoning, accuracy, परसेप्चुअल एबिलिटी एंड क्लियर थिंकिंग। तो ये सारी चीज़ें इंटेलिजेंस टेस्ट में देखी जाती हैं। There is a little scope for the expression of spontaneity, originality and imagination. तो creativity में imagination और originality का बहुत scope है जो कि intelligence test में नहीं होता। Since expressions of creativity are varied, tests have been developed using different stimuli like words, figures, action and sounds. These tests measure general creative thinking abilities like ability to think of a variety of ideas on a given topic or situation, किसी एक topic या situation पे अलग अलग तरीके से सोच पाना, alternative ways of looking at things, also looking at problems or situations, and to guess cause and consequences, कारण क्या है, उसके परिणाम क्या होंगे, ये सोच पाना, और किसी भी वस्तु या कोई प्रॉब्लम या सिचुएशन के लिए ऑल्टरनेटिव वेज, विकल्प देख पाना, टू थिंक ऑफ यूजुअल आइडियाज टू इम्प्रूव एंड टू यूज कॉमन ऑब्जेक्ट, आस्क क्वेश्चंस एंड सो ऑन. A few investigators have also developed tests of creativity in different areas such as literary creativity, scientific creativity, mathematical creativity, etc. Some of the famous psychologists who have developed creativity tests are Guilford, Torrance, Khatena, Wallach and Kogan, Paramesh, Bakar Mehdi and Pasi. Each test has a standardized procedure, a complete set of manual and interpretation guide. ये पूरा एक किट होता है. इस किट में से अलग अलग चीज़ों के यूज़ से क्रिएटिविटी टेस्ट किए जाते हैं और मैनुअल की मदद से और इंटरप्रिटेशन गाइड की मदद से उसको इंटरप्रेट किया जाता है और रिजल्ट्स को बताया जाता है, और एक्चुअल में क्रिएटिविटी किस तरफ है, कितनी है, ये उसमें फिर बताई जाती है. These can be used only after extensive training in administration and interpretation of test scores. So this is all for now, and with this we conclude the topic psychological attributes. Namaste.